Callum, it's winter time, so I think it's time for some winter games.
Is it winter? I thought it was still autumn. I don't actually know.
Technically, I don't know. I think winter technically starts in like December, January, February, but I've never thought that.
I have no idea.
I know
seasons don't mean anything in Scotland anyway.
And also, like, you know, we're all inside at the minute, so who the fuck knows what time actually means. I'm just going to start this because there's a little bit of an intro that's going to happen here. This is the Red Lantern. This is a game that I've been following for a while, and I think it came back up in a Nintendo indie stream, maybe at the start of the year, I think. It's from a very small studio, and it's super cool. It's got some really, really interesting ideas, and it's not at all the game I thought it was, which is part of the reason why I wanted to show what it actually is, in case people are confused.
It's already based on like other than the conversation we had in the podcast, like based on the little thing I would have thought about this game just by looking at it. I wouldn't have thought that an option on the main menu that said saved runs would have been an option.
So that's kind of part of the part of the thing that really interested me about this game once you start getting into it, because I was sold, well, not I was sold because it is all there, I just hadn't read too much. I kind of want to go in dark. It is a roguelike, and it's a relatively hard's the wrong word. It's a pretty brutal roguelike, where they've compressed the powering up mechanic that you would get, like your permanent upgrade mechanic, down to a short space of time. So like I completed my first run after like 3 hours maybe, but there's definitely some space in there to see the rest of the stuff that the game has to offer. Just because you finished one run does not necessarily mean that you're finished with the game. And a lot of that and the roguelike mechanics all tie into the narrative in a super, super interesting way. So the setup here, I don't think I can skip chunks of this. I can skip some dialogue, I suppose. But so the setup here is that you are playing a character who has dropped out of medical school, was going to go become a doctor, has dropped out of medical school because they're being disillusioned by the prospect of their life back home. And I've taken your dog.
We all at one
I know, right? I've taken your dog Chomper and decided, you know what, we're going to go to Alaska, and we are going to go train huskies to do dog sledding in Alaska, because that's the biggest change.
That's the thing you do, yeah.
Totally. So the opening of the game, if you start a new game, you'll get this. This is already different from what I had. So the start of the game, you've got Chomper, and you need to get 4 other dogs to pull your team together. So I'm basically just going to pick the first 4 dogs we have here. So like I didn't see Noodle in my game. I picked, so Noodle is a new dog. There are 7, this is the thing the game doesn't really say, and I feel it's a useful thing to say here just so you understand how the start of this works. Basically there are 7 stops from the start to, there are 7 stops available in linear sequence, and out of those 7 stops you have to pick 4 dogs. So if you don't pick the first 4 dogs, or 3 dogs, you only have the last 4 left, and you just have to take what's there. Or you have to take whatever's there.
Okay.
But it does seem like, especially having going through this the second time, the order of the dogs is different. So every run you're gonna have every save game, I should say, you're gonna have a slightly different set of dogs.
Variants.
Dog variants. So like I've never seen Noodle before. Noodle was not my original in my original team of my other save. Each of the dogs definitely has their own personalities and quirks, and each of them have their own like kind of mini story that plays out during the runs themselves, which is also very good. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of variety in here. So even if you were to take the 5 dogs you have on your run, you finish all 5 dog stories, there are still another 3 dogs you've never seen before, so there's another reason to go back and start again. This is Stilton. Stilton is a dog I have in my other thing. Stilton's great. He's a lookout dog and has a great name. So I'm just gonna skip some of this dialogue so I can get some dogs, and then we can go through. I will say the voice acting. There's only one voice actor, who's the one you're hearing right now, because she's on her own. She doesn't talk to anyone. And also it's Ashley Birch. Yeah. She does a...
Yeah, I thought it sounded like Ashley Birch.
She does a phenomenal job in this game, considering she's the only voice actress. Like, she there's just so much personality in every line delivery that she does in this. It's such a good performance. She has like the game when I was playing yesterday, she had an argument with an owl I'd never seen before, and it was just straight out hilarious. Like, she's really, really good at it. Okay, I'm gonna try and skip through to see the rest of these dogs. The game's got a really good look. We're only seeing this bit right now, but the dogs are super expressive as well. It's definitely stylized, like it's got a kind of chunky look to it, maybe. But it actually works really well, and especially when we get onto the actual snow, you'll see. The main reason I want to go through this process is, one, to see some of the other dogs, and also because a lot of the game is about discovery, let's say. Yeah. And I don't want to just show my game, which has a whole bunch of stuff.
It's the same as like any other roguelike, right? It's all just about mechanical learning.
Yeah, except that yes, the mechanical learning in this is interesting, and we'll get to that. But also, like, just there's a bunch of stuff you would see in that other game, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this changes things. So I'm just doing this from here. I'm just gonna skip through some of this dialogue. So this is out on Epic Games and Switch right now. I don't think I've confirmed any other platform, but it's those two at the minute. I have not played the Switch version, and I don't know anyone who's played the Switch version. So I can't say anything about performance or anything like that, but like, it runs totally well. This is Gale. I've never seen Gale either. So as you're doing this, you're like, your character does say, like, she has some initial insights into the character, into the dogs. So for instance, Stilton is like, they're a good lookout, but they're older, so they don't have as much energy, so they're due for retirement, but maybe they've got a couple of races left in them. So there's some stuff in there as well. So that's how you get your initial set of dogs. I'm trying to get through this bit. This is you should actually sit and, I would recommend, if you actually pick this up and play it, you actually sit and go through this dialogue. Like I said, the dialogue is really, really good and well acted, and well written as well. So I think we have all the dogs. Yeah, here we go. So this is the start of the game. So once you've got your set of dogs, they are your dogs for your save game. If you want to choose new dogs, you have to start from scratch again.
Okay. So you can't change your dogs?
No, you cannot change your dogs. So so yeah, this is Welcome to Alaska. This is the second. I actually realized this is the second game this year set in Alaska, and I can't think of any other games in a long time that have been set here, which is great.
Expansion in Fallout 3 that was in Alaska.
Oh yeah. Okay. So
I can't think of any games that are set in Alaska though.
No, exactly. So this is the setup. So we basically need to get. Well, once I get on the slide, I'll show you. But basically, this first leg is we've hit the end of the road, and we have a mentor who has set us up with a cabin in the woods where you can start training, like in prime.
I get that the game's stylized, but these are some weird looking dogs.
They're definitely caricatured a little.
Yeah.
Let's say, but it works really well when you see how expressive they are. I was hoping we would get Barkley again. Barkley is my favorite. Barkley is this giant, intimidating looking dog who just at any point will just, at the drop of a hat, turn over if her belly rubs, and it's the most adorable thing ever. So the actual gameplay part of it is, I think you brought up in the podcast, I just hadn't put this together. It's kind of Oregon Trail-ish, where it's about resource management and kind of pseudo-random events and basically telling the story as you go along. So the main resources you've got to think, if you hold down the bumper, you can see there's stuff. I've got 2 food, 3 bullets, 1 wrap of birch to start fires, and 0 medkits to start with. And if I can't do it yet. Oh, I do have a medkit. There we go. God, see, having progressed within this game, having this as the resources is terrifying again.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we should start. So if I look at the map that I've got, there we go. So if I look at this map, this is all that I have for a map, and I basically need to get to the cabin.
For dogs that you've just picked up, they're very responsive to being sled
So
dogs. I thought sled dogs had to be really well trained.
So Chomper isn't a sled dog, but the rest of them were sled dogs before.
Right,
they're just not prime anymore. Maybe maybe had an injury or they're getting too old or whatever it is. So the main flow of the actual game is you will get you're basically going down this. I'm not piloting, really. That's what you do with dogs, right? You pilot them.
Pilot dogs.
Yeah, pilot dogs.
It's mushing, isn't it? Is it
mushing.
not when it's sledding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so we have. So I'm not driving anything right now. Like I'm not touching any of the sticks. This is
You're
all
just making choices. Like
I'm making left and right choices basically as I go down this path. So as you're going down, you'll see these encounters that you'll have limited amounts of time to deal with. So we saw a caribou. So let's go hunt this caribou because we need the food, right? So got to hunt this caribou. This is the mini game for hunting. You basically need to get the dot inside the circle, and you can slow the dot down.
Oh god!
It does a really good job of actually like. There we go. Hey!
I hit it, and it's still fine.
Yeah, you don't.
Yep. Let's try it again.
Gotta go for heart shot or whatever it is.
Yeah. There. Oh no. Yes.
She is fucking okay.
There we go.
I was gonna say she's fucking shredded this caribou, but
yep. There we go. Not quite. You can howl along with the dogs as well. So the game is basically set as these series of like kind of random, pseudo-random. I'm not sure how random it is. They actually hide that pretty well. Encounters of you on the way, of you gathering more resources or coming across stuff in the like hazards in the wilderness or maybe wildlife and all that kind of stuff. And it's basically you trying to get to the cabin in one piece. So there's energy meters at the top right, so you've got the dog energy meter and your hunger. If you see just on the right there, yeah, well there you go, trail markers. So every time the dogs cross a trail marker, they lose 1 stamina. If they cross a trail marker and they have no stamina left, it's the end of the run. Every time you have one of the encounters where you step away from the sled, that costs you 1 hunger. If you do an encounter when you're out of hunger, that's the end of the run as well. There'll be stuff like this where it's like, hey, Stilton's found something. Okay, let's go see what it is.
Oh, hello.
Aha. Ptarmigans. So you see this comes up with the little journal icon. We'll talk about the journal when we're done here. So let's let the dogs go for them.
You're gonna try to get yourselves a meal. Hold.
Oh, they're gonna eat the dog. Oh, they're gonna eat the birds. Okay.
Sheesh.
There we go. So there was a couple options there. So I could have hunted the ptarmigans to get food that we would store. You can let the dogs go after them. The dogs will eat, and the dogs will get stamina back. But that saves you a bullet. You can look at them to kind of study them a little bit, all that kind of stuff. So especially at the start, like, so when you start to run out of food and stamina, you can hit Y at any point to camp at the next potential camping spot.
Set up a pretty good camp. We've got our meat all strung up to be out of reach of bears, and we can make a fire.
Yeah.
And of course, I can check on all of you.
So yeah, so you can eat here, and you need to keep dogs fed. You can sleep, all of this kind of stuff. Some interesting little mechanical stuff in here as well, where so I can feed the dogs. Oops, I can go pet Gale as well. All this kind of stuff. Iggy also very good to scratch.
Let's get those pets in, buddy.
Yeah.
This is just a game for pet dogs. Like
yeah, I mean, yes, they've taken the Can You Pet the Dog Twitter account and turned it into a game. It's very good. But yeah, like you said, they're cartoony dogs, but they work in this particular situation. So some mechanical stuff. So you have to keep the dogs fed. So you and the dogs both feed from the same source. This is kind of one of my favorite things out of here, where you see this. Oh, Chomper's all sad because he's not got food. Oh look, there's food. Oh look, there's a lot of food. Oh god, there's so much food. Like, yeah, that animation is very good. So you can see I'm using a unit of food to fill this up. So I'm going to give them that. Again, our journal entry. So for me, I can eat the food straight. But if I eat the food raw, I'll become cold. And cold limits the amount of stamina I can possibly have. But
how does it eat raw food make you cold?
Because it's fucking icy. Like, You're eating
Oh, right,
iced
the
food.
meat itself is
The meat-
cold.
yes.
Right, okay.
But if you want to cook the food,
I would be more worried about, dying because you're eating raw
but
meat.
also if you're
Like,
chilly,
that's-
if you get hypothermia and internal hypothermia, also pretty bad.
Yeah, true.
So you can start a fire, and then once you've started fire, you can then cook the food. It'll feed you back up. But also starting a fire costs you a birch, so you get to the point where you're like, well, I need to eat, but I don't have any fire. But I definitely need to eat, so I'm gonna be cold, and I'll take the cold hit.
Let's get back out there.
I'll take the cold hit, but it's not gonna.
It's a roguelike. It's a resource management game.
100%. So I'm basically gonna let this run out, just to show the kind of final mechanical bit of the game that makes it. That I think is the thing that makes it even more interesting, I think, than normal. Oh shit, that's a caribou.
Oh, you pups see that? It's a caribou.
So again, like usually like watch and hunt are two of the options.
Whisper, right?
Stay quiet and see if it stays. Oh.
How did it know I was here?
So again, so one of the things you definitely get is, and it's a big part of this game, is learning about the wilderness. So stuff like if you see so the example I talked about in the podcast, which is like one of like a billion examples in here, so I'm not really spoiling anything. So you'll occasionally sometimes you'll see a owl, a snowy owl. And you can be like, okay, I'm going to follow this owl and see what it does. Sorry, no, it was a bald eagle is what the example I was using. So you saw a bald eagle, and you're like,
See it, Chomper?
I'll follow the bald eagle. You follow the bald eagle, and you're like, okay, follow the bald eagle, and you get there, and it's just there, and it's like, well, I think it's illegal to shoot a bald eagle, so, but you can still shoot it if you want. So now I'm just gonna wait and see what happens here, and then the bald eagle
Back on the trail.
dives down and finds a rabbit, and you're like, ah, the thing you've learned there is if there's a bald eagle, the bald eagle will be tracking some kind of prey, but you can take the prey, or you can find more prey if you follow the bald eagle, that kind of stuff. So it's kind of all about learning the different parts of the wilderness and how the wilderness all fits together, and all the different parts of it, and where the best ways to get some of the resources, and what some of the resources mean, and kind of reading the scenery almost. Hey, look, an owl.
I'm certain I read that owls are good omens.
Let's not press our luck. So let's go. So if you ride for too long, you'll become tired, and then you can see about the maximum of my energy meters have been reduced as well. So
sure,
you can't fill up as much, but you need to sleep. But every time you sleep, it costs you and the dogs a food slot. So you need to like manage all of that as well.
So there's just
Oh, hey, a cabin.
creepy abandoned cabin sitting over there.
It's like a bothy.
Yeah, let's go sneak up to the cabin.
Do we check it out?
Yeah,
Your gun.
Be fine.
let's go see what's in the cabin.
Dead body.
Not, right? Great. I found
Nothing. So like there's like 4 or 5 different permeations of how that can go as well that I've definitely seen.
Let's go.
So you don't necessarily know. So the one thing I will say that I'm not
Would it have been bad to stay there? There's still like a bed and stuff. Like
totally, yeah, but like you need to keep going, right? You need to still go get food. Because I currently have no
You need
food.
sleep. Oh, you've got no food. Okay.
I've got no food, so I need to stay on the track. So the one thing that I'm not entirely sure about is it does seem sometimes like runs have ended
Getting closer to our new home.
outside of your control, where it feels like you've managed the resources pretty well, but like they just haven't given you enough bullets, or they just haven't given you enough opportunities to hunt, or you fucked up a hunting just one too many times. It will feel like that during the game, but persevere, and I can't say much more than that. Like, it's very rare you have a run that
It's been really nice.
you get absolutely nothing out of. Let's say that much. You will get something, even if it's knowledge, it's all useful stuff.
Out loud this much, but
Where
we're really doing this.
are we going?
We're
Okay, we're getting there. I love how shitty this map is. Like, this is one of the shittiest maps I think I've ever seen in a game, and it's
Well, is it not?
great.
It's drawn on a diner.
It's drawn on a
like,
literal
menu.
diner napkin, which is
Yeah.
excellent, I think.
Kids menu, no less.
Yeah, on a kid. Yeah, oh yeah, I hadn't even noticed that. Yeah, It's like $3 PB&J if you want.
I was gonna say $3 for a PB&J.
Yeah,
like
especially when it's $2 for a hot dog. Like that.
And $2 for toast.
That pricing seems real fucked up.
I don't know.
I'm just realizing I probably shouldn't have eaten, but if I wanted to end this early. There's a day-night cycle as well, so you can also tell like when you're going to be tired. Like you basically got a full day, and then you'll become tired. There's just enough. Oh, here we go. Okay. So, hey, wolf. That's probably not. That's probably fine, right?
No.
No, definitely not fine.
It's definitely going to charge you. Yeah.
So this is where you start to get some of the dog personality stuff comes in, right? Oh, weird. Huh. So that plays out totally different depending on which dogs you have. So again, I had Barkley in my normal game, and Barkley's whole thing is that he is like very headstrong and will just throw himself into a fight even when he can't win it. So so that's kind of the start of Barkley's story, is him just throwing himself at this fucking wolf, and then learning how to like literally bark before he bites to try and intimidate prey so he doesn't put himself in as much danger. So that's part of Barkley's story. So that's weird that I'd seen that wolf encounter a bunch of times. But
so do the dogs have like individual stories?
Yes, every dog has their own.
Or just personality?
They have personalities, but they all have their own kind of miniature storyline that happens.
Oh, okay, cool.
As it goes out. So like in my normal game, I think I've done 3 out of the 5. And I'm still working out bits and pieces about what the others do. Obviously, I don't want to go into what the others are because that's kind of part of it.
Yeah.
But yes, each of the dogs have their own little individual through lines that happen throughout the game. There is an option, I feel like I should mention this, there's an option in the menu that is useful to know that is there, which is that there's an option so the dogs can't die. Now, I have not seen that as a thing that happened in my game, but the fact that the option is there suggests that it could be. So if that's a thing that's going to be a sensitive spot for you, there's an option there for you to switch that off.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think probably mechanically the same outcomes will happen, but like it will. So like some of the stuff can happen is that like a dog gets injured for whatever reason, you will put them on the sled so that they're not actually running. Which affects the amount of stamina you have and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And then you have to use a med pack to heal dog and all of this kind of stuff. I imagine that is how it goes if the dogs don't actually die. But I can't confirm that because it's never actually happened to me. So, but just know that the option is there. There's also no way to, again, I looked, there's no way to switch off subtitles, and it didn't bother me as much as it normally would, because I usually switch subtitles off. I don't like playing with subtitles. Well, actually, this is handy. But there's no way to switch it off, just as a warning, as a thing in case people are looking for it. So one of the things that will happen during the thing is you'll occasionally get tools out in the wild. So hey, I found this axe. So now I have an axe, and gathering wood with the axe doesn't cost hunger. So normally,
that's good.
So normally for the birch trees here, which you rip the bark off to set fires, normally on top of the 1 hunger it would use to actually do the encounter, it would cost you another hunger to actually take the bark because it's an intensive thing to do.
Yeah.
But now they've got the axe, doesn't cost you the hunger, and just generally having an axe is a good idea. So now we have an axe. You can see it in the slide. And then you can very quickly see, like, I've got 1 bullet left, I've got 1 med pack, I've got no food because the food's usually strapped to the side here. And you can see I'm down to like 1 hunger, so I can probably do 1 more encounter and then something will happen. I'm also injured and tired, so this run is not going particularly well.
Yeah.
Let's go see what this is.
We don't want it to go well, so.
Okay, there we go. Med pack.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah. So you'll occasionally come across stuff like, oh, there's like a leftover campfire that maybe has a bullet left behind or something like that. So it is possible to get that stuff in the wild. Yeah. So you can see I'm flashing red now with my hunger, which is not a good sign if you're trying to play this well. But So on top of being tired, you then become exhausted. So now, on top of
I'm feeling a little weak, pups.
the dog's losing stamina, you will lose stamina every time you pass a trail marker.
Keep on running, pups.
So I starved. So that's the
You
end.
starved.
You starved. End of the run. So when you end the run, you wake up back in the van.
Nightmare.
And the run that you just did
Essentially
wasn't...
irresponsible to fall asleep at the wheel of the
Yeah,
van.
I thought that myself, but let's put that to one side for a second. So
Okay.
so narratively, that was a nightmare that we had.
Got a lot of stomach
But what it has done
if I don't have the strength to keep my eyes open.
is you will learn some stuff and be like, okay, yeah, you ran out of food, so you should probably plan better with your food and all this kind of stuff. But the other thing you would do is you would also go... so as you play, you'll make interesting discoveries, and then at the end of the run, these will add to your journal. So here is... Let's show me here. Here's your journal. So it will add the stuff that you've learned to this journal. So like... so I fed the pups a full meal, so that gets logged in the journal. I met some ptarmigans, and I wrote some stuff down about the ptarmigans. I've seen some of the events that are out there. So the narrative conceit for your general progression in the game is that as part of your nightmare,
Reminded me.
as you're going to see, hey, I didn't pack an axe when I went out there. I should probably go pack an axe.
Sure, yeah. That makes
So
sense.
when I start my next run, I will now have an axe from the start. So if I start a new run from here, it will start me with an axe. And I'll start back here. And also you can see, like, as you make progressions and see more of the wilderness, as you take those boxes off, you'll start with more resources next time. So now I have... Well, I've got one extra food that I didn't have before and one extra bullet I didn't have before just because I saw some stuff. So it encourages you to go out and explore all the different parts of the wilderness and see all the different bits and
Yeah, that's good.
really see. And the progression actually works really well. You get a lot of items that... There's a lot of items to collect in there. And I just think the narrative conceit of, oh shit, I fucked up in my dream, I should probably plan better,
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a
really
really-
smart way of doing that.
It's a way of getting around the like typical roguelike conceit of how do you do runs, like how do runs make sense in the universe.
Totally. And it's a really smart way
makes
of
sense.
doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Red Lantern. It is out on Epic Games Store and Switch right now. It's very good. I think it's... I didn't look up the price. I think it's $13 on Epic Games
Sure.
Store. I'm not sure how much it is in Switch because I don't actually know. And it's very good. It's like I said, like I finished my first run after maybe 3-4 hours, maybe. But like I said, there's a lot of stuff if you want to fill out that journal, and then once you filled out the entire journal with the 5 dogs you have, there are 3 other dogs you've never even seen before, so you'd get into there as well. Yeah, this game's super cool, and as like a little new things like this that you would not normally see. I don't want to end this game on shooting this thing, so I'm just gonna let it escape. There we go.
Cool.
So yeah, thanks, Hal.
Nice, Ian.